This was for the public safety fee, but I will update you on our water issue. We've spent $870,000 on this project that you see going down 2nd Street. We're going to spend, yeah. There's a 16-inch main line and an 8-inch line going in. We are working on a sand filter for a well that we got to get up and running, a newer well. We've been running off the spring lines. The spring lines are dried. In the meantime, while we were running off the spring lines, the pumps were not running. So when we turn the water on, the pumps on, your water looks like this. Mine is just as bad as everybody else's, and it doesn't bother me because I drink it, and I do laundry, I do everything.
Bring it right now.
Bring me a glass of.
How about we keep order? Really?
I don't have a problem with it.
Stay inside my cup.
I don't have a problem with it.
No, but I tell you what, if somebody goes to the fence, there'll be bottled water in every house in town.
Well, anyway, I'm just updating you on that. Okay? We are working on the water, but it doesn't happen overnight. Sure, I agree, there's pipes should have been done 25, 30 years ago. We're left holding the bag on it. Okay? I'll admit that, we are left holding the bag. But it's not our fault that the water is this way. So I wish you guys would quit bashing us for something that we're trying to correct. We have applied for grants to try to get in a water filter system. It doesn't say that we're going to get the grant. There's other cities out there that apply for these grants too. If their needs are worse than ours, then they get it.
How would they know how our needs are when the reports don't accurately report what our water looks like? You're not sending in our water, you're sending in your water. and
No.
Jeff's
I'll drink
water.
anybody's water. I don't have a
No, I'm
problem
talking
with it.
about the reports that are sent into the government that says that our water is okay.
It is.
It absolutely
Well,
is not. It's like
Hold it, hold it.
Hold up.
This is not about the water. We wanted to update you about the water.
The town
And
is
that's what-
saying it needs to be about the
This is
water.
about the water.
It needs
This
to
is
be
not about the
And
water.
we're not wanting to talk about the water. I want to talk about the public safety fee. We
Nobody's
need that
gonna
as
talk
well.
about a
We're
public
trying to
safety
work
fee
on
when we
2
have brown
projects,
water.
okay? We're trying to do 2
And-
things at once, so
This
please,
is not,
just bear with us.
This is not a dictatorship.
Well,
No.
I'm not going to talk about the water. I've already
I'm speaking to
explained
you
it.
with respect.
I got a question.
Why did you
Was we supposed to bring
disregard
some? I was told to bring it. Does everybody have some? I mean, can we turn it in if we do? 'Cause I don't want to hold it all
Bruce, you
day.
got a quick statement?
Rick, yeah, just to comment, I think one of the big problems is a lack of communication. You're trying to communicate tonight. People don't know what's going on. We have our business over on 2nd Street. I didn't know that water project was happening until yesterday, when I was over working on it.
But it's been in the newspaper. I brought it
There
up
has
last
been
month.
some. But a clear statement of what's wrong with the water, what the issues are. I've talked to some of the folks who work for the town, I know them. And they have a clear statement, they understand the problem. You need to communicate that to people. You need to communicate what you just said, what's happening, when it's gonna be done, how it's gonna be paid for. That seems to be a hole.
Okay. Now, let's get on with the public safety fee.
You know, Ray, this has been going on for over a year. I went through this last summer and nobody did anything about fixing the water.
It's been going on a lot longer than a year. It's been going on for 20 years.
So what
It's not
happened,
the
what
pipes, it's
happened
one
on
of them
July
wells
8th?
down there.
Wait your turn, please. All the wells have high iron and manganese in them, and it's not considered a health risk. It's considered a nuisance. That's why the money wasn't available and still isn't. Manganese is, I think, getting ready to go on the list of substances that they're going to regulate how much you can have in your water. But at this point, it just has iron and manganese in it. We don't have bacteria. We don't have, you know, any of these things that people are speculating on the internet
It's named that
about.
cup today.
It's iron and manganese.
We had
and I-
sand,
I'm not
sand.
personally responsible for it. I mean, it's the same water that I grew up on and it's been in this town for years and years.
There's sand in the bottom of our tubs. When we drain our tubs, they have dirt and sand in the bottom of them. Not something our children. Our clothing is ruined.
All right, let's get on with the public safety fee. That's what I want to talk about tonight. That's why we called this meeting. We didn't call it to discuss the water. We just brought that up.
Why didn't you? You had a town full of people driving out of town to bathe their children and wash their clothes. People who live here and work here. Our clothing is ruined, our children can't bathe.
I'm going through the same thing.
Then why didn't you
Okay,
call the meeting to talk
enough.
to us?
Now let's get on with the
Not
public
your
safety
child.
fee. Now, yes,
Yeah, the public safety fee that is going to be tied to our water.
No,
no,
no, it's
It's
not.
coming in the
Gonna be on
water
our
bill.
water bill.
It's coming from the water bill. He was talking about raising the water bill to pay for this.
back there. No, what, the reason that was going to go on the bill was so it would save money. It's not gonna be your water cost, it's an extra fee, just, yeah. It has nothing to do with the water. It has nothing to do with the water.
What's it got to do
All it
for?
is to save money instead of sending out a separate bill.
Is there
We're
a
trying to
sunset
save the taxpayers' money.
Is there a sunset clause on this thing? I mean, does this go on forever? Or is it the opposite? Could it actually be increased?
It's so either way.
It's been a
And let me
precedent.
clarify that.
Oh, just a minute, you guys. We're trying to talk, okay? Give us a chance.
What our anticipation is that when Red Rock comes in and we get some of the community fees that they're required to pay as they come into town, will go towards policing and dispatching, and then we would eliminate it and take it off the bill. That is our anticipation.
Okay, well then why don't we wait till we actually see the money in hand? I've got a little quick,
That could be 2 years, 3 years from
I
now.
got a quick little statement.
Go ahead and keep raising.
Can I?
Go ahead.
Have the floor for just a minute or two?
I've got a lady over here that had her hand up for quite a while.
Go ahead, Charlie. Go ahead.
I think this is a new tax, and it's a new assessment, and it kind of reminds me of the snow removal charge, where it didn't go away once we saved up a bunch of money. That was a good idea. That was a good idea. But then all of a sudden, the money went to a bullet improvement project or something like that. But let me finish, okay? But all I know is it just, some of these things never go away, and I wonder about Red Rock and some of them other things performing everything, okay? Anyway, I'd like to, anyway, we're taxed to death already as it is. It could go up in the future. It may not go away, there seems to be no stopping these running away pensions and costs and everything to public employees and things. Now, I'm pro-police, but some of this stuff has got to stop. I mean, that deal with Scott Peterson in Florida, where he didn't charge us because he was a couple of months away from an $8,000 a month pension, that's ridiculous. Okay, so anyway, this really isn't a public safety issue. It's a personal safety issue, and you're responsible for your personal safety. I want you people to consider your fiduciary responsibility here and kind of look into the future. Yeah, we've been without a policeman now for a while, and maybe we should fill in that fourth time slot or whatever.
We're trying to fill it.
I know, but this isn't the way to do it. What I'm saying is just wait till Red Rock comes in and you actually see the cash flow, man. Because until then, we've got to foot it, and I don't see a lot of these things going away. And let me finish one more thing, one more quick item about people on fixed income, okay? The idea of this is losing money, burdening people can be painful. And the idea of a policeman is to save pay and protect. And I don't see how a person on fixed income, how this is going to help. You see why they pay for it all the time. You see that? Get what I'm at? I got my excellent neighbors, my former neighbors and everything, with good policemen and stuff and everything. But the reality is we can't afford this. Obama tried to spend our way out of this, and it didn't work, and it won't work for you either. So you've got to see the cash flow first.
Hey, I'm not a proponent of the increase. However, you need to understand something. Everybody is complaining, not everybody in this room, so don't get all bent out of shape, that there's not 24-hour coverage, that there's not a policeman available at 6 o'clock in the morning when you have a cold theft call. and y'all get upset, not you all, I'm generalizing that statement, so don't anybody get up in my grill. If you are on a fixed income, generally, you may be in the senior citizen range. If you have a heart attack, a fall, you cut yourself with a knife, you do any of that, who do you call? You call 911. Do you want a police officer to be able to respond to you like that? You absolutely do. One time, just an example, because the former mayor isn't here, not that I'm dissing him, but my husband works every holiday, every weekend, every night. That is his shift. And I committed to that when I moved to this town. I also committed to buying a business here, paying taxes here, shopping here, doing all of my business here, banking, etc. When my husband's sitting down to have Thanksgiving dinner and we get a call that he has to go investigate a cougar sighting at the mayor's house at the time, and it turns out to be a golden retriever, that just interrupted my family dinner. And I've sacrificed an awful lot for this community, for people to get on Facebook or whatever and gripe, quite honestly, about the fact that there's no good police coverage. They're working with 3 officers right now. 3. That is 120 hours a week, okay? And it's
overtime?
absolutely not.
You don't
So
pay
you
them
just pay
overtime?
120 hours straight time?
No, my husband isn't doing that, all 3 of them. My husband works 40, Mike works 40, and Terry works 40.
You don't pay them overtime?
When, that wasn't the point. If they work overtime, they get paid overtime, that's not the point.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Right now, perhaps it is, which I did see on Facebook, perhaps it is applicable to look at the budget. But the other thing is this, how many of you have gotten stopped by a police officer in this town? How many? How many have gotten a ticket?
My hand's still up. And I have
If you
people
have been
speeding
stopped by
by
a
my
police
house
officer.
24/7.
Okay, did you get a ticket?
No, because I told him I didn't need seatbelts because it was a 1979 pickup.
So you didn't get a ticket?
I don't have
So you didn't get a ticket? You didn't? Okay, I'm not gonna argue with you, you didn't get a ticket. The point is
I got a
this.
question.
Why do I have to pay $10 on my water?
For
If
them.
you don't live here, you don't have to pay.
Well, then it's not gonna be on my water bill when I get it.
Do you live in this town?
No, I live on South 11th Street.
So you have town water?
I live in town, yes, I'm on town
Well,
water.
then
Why am
that's-
I gonna have to pay the
I don't know, that's something you have to take up with the county because I don't know the answer to that. No, you're a very individual. No, you're an individual. You bring that up with your county commissioners. My point is, if you all want to start getting tickets for every single bike, and let me finish having my statement.
You're the one that's gonna charge me $10, not the county.
Hey, let her finish. You wanna leave? Maybe you need to leave.
Hey,
You sit there and you need to leave.
you wanna go through this again? Go,
Come on,
move.
come on.
My point being, the police department is not a revenue generating part of the city government. You have to look at that, okay? Every time you roll stop, every time you don't have your seatbelt on, boom, I'm guilty of it.
Boy, me too. I'm still in the
The point is, there's no money generated by the police department to provide an income for the,
Where'd the money
What the
go?
hell does this mean?
where did
I
what
haven't
money
even
go?
got it. We heard about these fees or here to put on the new police.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
One at a
I
time.
absolutely know what I'm talking about. Yes, I do.
All right, hey, all right.
Anyway, my point being, if you want to have a fee that provides an extra police officer for the coverage everyone wants, then they'll start writing tickets. But that's not how our police department works. They community police.
All right, gentlemen back
So in order to get funded, they're gonna take it. That ain't how it works.
Hey, please be quiet.
Disabled, and he is a senior citizen. He's 88, I'm 66, I'm a senior citizen. Our concern about this $10 fee is that we're on fixed incomes. And as seniors on fixed incomes, we don't have that extra $10 to give you people. Because it takes money off of our plate, off of our food, off of our rent, off of our bills. We're taxed to the end. We don't get increases in pay raises. So where are we supposed to come up with this money? We just don't have it. So what are we supposed to do?
That's
We
why
vote
we're
no
having this
against
meeting.
it because we
Give us
don't
some
have this
ideas.
money to give to you, give to the
Pretty sharp,
town.
yeah. If we could generate revenue by them getting tickets, why not? Because.
Wait, time out, listen.
Hey, hold it.
Write tickets for, Charlie, write tickets for. Charlie, stop.
We don't, if we write a ticket, it goes to the state. This
Oh,
money
yeah,
goes
no,
to
money. No.
No money comes here when we write
I thought you were
citations.
sharp, I thought you were saying something.
We don't have a municipal
should, but you
court.
have to
If we had a
change
municipal
laws.
court, part of the fees would go to that court.
When a
Okay.
ticket is written by the police or any other court, fines are due, they go to the court distributes them, but we get very little of that money, okay?
I thought you was
But
really.
Court
that's- we
distributes them
need
as they
to-
see fit, which is
we
I
another
need
can
to
entirely
testify to that
sometimes.
because I got
We
one
need
ticket
to
and it
fund
cost
Yes,
me.
absolutely.
And
All right,
take
everybody-
time so people can have a turn and not be interrupted.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Please.
I didn't.
All right, we're gonna go with a 3-minute time
And not
limit.
to be
Dave, go ahead.
interrupted.
Okay, my point is, I was a police officer, I was a
Right.
dog catcher. We always had 24-hour coverage.
Right.
What has changed that we don't have any money all of a sudden?
We've annexed in more property.
Well, we should have more revenue.
What about property taxes?
We haven't got it yet.
That doesn't mean the water
We annex this property in, it's gonna, we won't get any money till next year if we get it in.
What about all the one we annexed in before?
What happened to the budget?
What
Mike,
happened to the budget?
I can comment in regards to the number of Homeland Security grants through the years have dissipated, and that's not just for
We
our
weren't
police
using
force.
that before, there was no such
Yes, sir.
thing.
Yes, sir. I've been on the council for 10 years. and
You
we've been
haven't been there
using
long
Homeland
enough, I've been here a lot
Security
longer than that.
grants. I'm saying we've been
That's
using
not
that, we've been
interrupting.
utilizing that. It's been paying
My current
for,
3 minutes.
it's been paying for part of our salaries for our police officers. As every community has found out, there is a loss of Homeland Security grants. So therefore, it's not a lack of our budgeting skills, it's a lack of not having those funds coming in as they have been in the past to provide 24 hours.
The town was smaller 20 years ago. We had 5
Now, the
officers.
town was much smaller, I mean, was much larger 20
No,
years
you're
ago. Yes, sir, the
thinking way
population,
more.
the
Way
population.
more. You're not gonna fool me. I know the city
You
limits.
need to check population figures.
I tell you, this was
We're at 2,300 right now. That's our population, 2,300.
This lady's had her hand up for a
And
long
we've
time.
taken in businesses and all kinds of things. This town had 5 officers, counting the chief of police and a dog catcher, and we always had money. The officers don't make that much more than they did before.
And we had a
Where did the money go from 20 years ago? They could do it then, they can't do it now?
Have you looked
Something
at
wrong.
this, have you looked at the cost of salaries?
Have you looked at the 4
Versus
employees
20
in the
years
town
ago?
hall? Instead of 2? What's the town hall cost you compared to 20 years ago?
Town hall, the
Yeah,
expenses
you tell
of
me
such?
what town hall costs right now compared to 20 years ago. There's where your money went.
To pay for your counselors, is
I
that
don't
what you're
think
saying?
20 years makes a difference, come on.
What's the town manager position pay? And I have no problem with it, but what's it pay?
The town manager, it pays 70 some odd thousand.
Wow. And the PERS, it's almost 2 officers.
And the PERS, that's half against
Not even one officer.
What? The city always made more than the county.
I would like to,
The county
I would
makes
like
double.
to invite you to our budget committee meetings,
All right,
which
hey,
we
I have
have
more
on a
people.
regular basis, and you would be able to find out how the
Let's cut
integral
our,
parts.
let's
Oh,
cut
everybody here
our
knows.
comments down to 3 minutes, please. Nikki?
Well, first off, I come from a mortgage background, so to me, this is like, I wouldn't even give you guys a home loan right now because I want to see a budget. Like, I want to see a very cost analytical budget. Have we looked at what we're gonna do with reserve police officers, which many communities utilize? What is the expense to sending these people to training and then using them for volunteers, which costs us no man hours, almost minimally with some liability issues and insurance, but to do that, what about analyzing the county taking over? We have some overlapping expenses there. I come from a police family. My father was a sheriff. He started a prison facility in Corvallis, Oregon. I have extensive, knowledge. He wrote a great book I'd love to share with you guys. I have 100% support police officers, and I know these guys are overtaxed. I know each one of these families. There's no doubt in my mind they are overtaxed right now. But we need to look at what do we need to do to bring people to Lakeview, to work here, to stay here, to make our community grow better, to support businesses coming in.
Yes.
I mean, I'm personally working to help build our child care program, and I'm getting my child care provider shot down for renting out facilities that they don't live in to run a business by the town. And it's like, how are we helping our community? You guys need to look at way more than just jumping the gun and, well, I can show you emails.
I don't know what child care is.
I'll show you emails, I got them. But
And in regards to seeing the budget, it's available.
have you done all of these analyses?
We just started the new fiscal year, we had budget hearings, we were able to
No,
achieve
I'm not
those.
talking about our current budget. I'm looking at the future.
The
Have
future
you-
budgeting, yes ma'am.
Okay, so you've looked at what it costs to have reserve officers and training those reserve officers to meet our needs. You have that, like, you have what, I understand, I know there's an academy expense, that's what I'm talking about. Looking at that, looking at the county takeover, looking at hiring 1 or 2 or 3 extra, whatever expense. You guys are trying to tax on a levy essentially that right now, because your kitchen is dirty, nobody wants to eat in it. So you need to use a different source. You guys need to look at it and go, do we need to pass the levy for our community that has a term limit? Because I would never go out and buy a car and they say, we'll let you know when the payment's over. You guys have got to give us some figures here. This is just financial irresponsibility.
Yeah.
Mine.
Hey, so, I don't know if a lot of people don't know, I'm Mike Paxson, I'm a police officer here. So, you guys are asking for reserves that want to work for free. We can't even get applicants to come work here. When they see, people don't want to be cops in this country anymore.
No.
Nobody. And when they see our wages to start here at $18 an hour, who wants to put up with the crap that we put up with every day for that price? And we've been working with Roberta, who has had our back. And she's been over backwards to help us get our wages up. And she's doing everything in her power right now to get us better wages. I was on my way out of here 3 days ago until we sat down and talked with Roberta, who she does believe that we need to make more money. We get bashed on Facebook in this town, behind our backs. I can't even go to a restaurant here. That's sad. Nobody wants to volunteer to be a police officer. You all want that, but none of you are signing up. It's the same thing with you did, and that's fine, you're old and retired, we get it. But nobody's banging on our door to be a cop. No one.
But it's because of the wages.
What do we have?
It is, and we're working on that.
Where did it go? Where did the money go?
You gotta understand, 20 years ago, milk was $1 a gallon. Now you're paying $5 a gallon.
Yeah.
Things have gone up. Your house was $20,000 10, 15 years ago. Now they're $180,000.
Wish I could get that
Our
much
maintenance
line.
crew, the roads, everything has gone up 500% in this town. That's where this money is going. All we're asking for is this $10 fee to bring another officer. And if things work out down the road, we can get rid of it. And we can put that in writing.
When you guys signed up,
You already talked.
I get that. I signed up to do this. But I don't sign up to not have backup. I'm not, you want me to go every night I leave, I don't get to go home to her because I don't have someone to back me up? Someone shoots me in the back and I have no one to come find me?
when you guys went through negotiations, they knew what the wages were.
And they
gonna be
understand.
who
And
was
we
gonna
went
be there.
on, we don't have a contract right now.
I know.
We took a year freeze
I know.
so we could figure out the money issue. And this is, we're trying to take steps. We're not putting this into place.
This has been going on for a while.
We get it.
Right,
But she inherited a shit show. And that's plain blunt. And it's not her fault. And she's trying. That's right. The money is gone and now she's trying to get it back. And unfortunately, we all live in this community and we're gonna have to pay for that.
No.
And it can eventually be fixed by taxes. You might not believe that,
Who
but
mismanaged
everybody
the money?
pays no matter what.
Who mismanaged the money is gonna pay for it, not us.
It
Well,
needs
you
to be
live
done
here,
responsibly.
you want your roads fixed, you gotta pay taxes.
They're not fixed, what's the?
So, here's the thing. So, just,
All right,
Another young man
But
wants to
listen.
talk over here.
let Mike finish, please.
we get it, it's frustrating. And we know you guys want 24-hour coverage. We literally, every night I go to work, I bust my butt to protect you. I truly do. But people are saying that you get paid overtime to go out. I put in 25 hours of overtime last week. That's 25 hours I don't get to spend with my wife and kids. Because someone's got a loud barking dog next door.
That put in overtime. My husband gets
See,
paid up
I'm
to
just
his
saying though,
job.
but that's what we get on Facebook.
Let Mike finish, please.
I get that. And they are starting to support us.
The
and
issue
We
isn't
understand
the
that.
police officers, the issue is the method to which to fund it.
We get
The
it.
issue is the method to which to fund it.
I understand that. That's why we're having this meeting to figure out a good method, but this is the method that we can come up with right now.
We need to see figures. on
So,
I don't think
if
you ought to
don't want it,
deceive the
then you're not
public.
gonna have the coverage and you're
What
not
you're
gonna have the
doing.
cops you want. So you just gotta stop bashing us on Facebook.
I support you 100%, Mike, but I think it's the wrong way to go about getting the
I only
money.
want one person talking at a time, please, not
What do
a
you-
half dozen of you.
This lady's had her name up.
I did some reading on the internet and stuff. There has been a precedent set in other towns where they said, oh yeah, it's a great idea. And then they started raising the rates and raising the rates and raising the rates. In one particular town, they shot them down. They fired the whole city council and rehired some new ones. Okay? Now,
You want my chair?
nothing was
You
put
want
in
my
writing.
chair?
Nothing was put in writing, apparently. So what I hear, what people want, is we want limits. I don't know if I'm for the safety fee or not, because here's my last point. We still got 2 vacancies to fill. Why are we creating a 6th one? We can't even fill 2 more. Exactly. And that's my point, I'm done. Thank you.
Robin, do you have?
I do have something I would like to bring to the table. You know, back to what Dave was saying, 20 years ago, yeah, we did have reserve police officers because back then, we had Jimmy Deans that wanted to go out and be police officers and be a part of this community. We don't get that anymore. Nobody wants that anymore. Guess what? We're a different generation now. It's over. The money's not there. We have to have coverage. I called the other night dispatch. I called 911. Guess what happened? Nobody answered. Okay? That's what happened. They did eventually call me back, and they did apologize to me.
That's a different issue than the.
But that is a different issue.
Tracy, you've had your hands up several times.
So I get cut off,
Oh, I'm
right?
sorry, I thought you were done.
No, that's fine.
No, I thought you were
No,
done.
that's fine.
I work with the disaster unit, so I'm in dispatch when I go on runs. 911 was down and back up and down and back up for at least 2 days. So that could have been an issue there. My question is, how late do you work?
Me?
Yeah, when do you clock out?
Whenever I go home. It depends on the call load.
Okay, so,
Well, the bad guys know exactly.
Generally 1 o'clock, but that doesn't hold true.
okay. Then our undersheriff comes on at 4 to 4:30 in the morning. So that leaves about 3 hours that this town does not have coverage.
That's what you think.
Seriously?
That's what I know, yeah. That's
I
what
know way better than that.
Unfortunately.
I know when
it
there's
tends to
times that
be
there's
bad
only 8 hours coverage. And you know it too.
And that's not just our department though.
I know it.
That needs to be a cohesive
But I tell you, this
development
$10,
between.
how many houses is there in this town that we're talking about?
You don't know?
You don't know?
No, you should know that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, there isn't enough to cover the wages for one.
Mr. Furtado, I think your 3 minutes was up a long time ago.
I'll get you in a minute, Mike. Bruce?
Yeah, are there any other options, like short-term interim options that could provide more coverage in the short term? For example, an agreement with the sheriff's department. I see a lot of feds running around with lights on their trucks and guns. Have you looked into any agreements with any of those organizations to solve a short-term problem while you sort all these other issues out?
We're all in the same county.
Bruce, I have been in contact with the sheriff's office, and they are also understaffed at this
Right.
time. And so it's kind of hard for them to take over right at the moment because they're understaffed. We will have a chief here by mid-September, 1st of October, to continue on what Chief Behan started. But the reason this public safety fee started is when I came here, you can't get somebody to apply because of the wages, like Mike Patterson said. They're too low. And so we can't get somebody to apply. But if you do have somebody apply, it takes 16 weeks in the academy. So we have to pay their salary, their medical benefits, and they're gone for 16 weeks. And in order for the officer to be out on the road and be safe, it's going to take almost a year to have him ready to go. Mike was an exceptional officer, but they put him out on the road at night by himself. And that was not correct. That was a bad thing to do. So what I want to do is protect my officers. I want to recruit officers to help them out. And right now, we were looking at options. And so the option of the public safety fee, it has been done in probably about 50–60% of the small towns because the funding has gone away. You can no longer get a COPS grant for an officer or a school resource officer. Those funds have dried up, and we're continually looking for different options. But right now, to help us recruit and retain, that's why we are looking at the $10 fee. But other thing that most people don't understand is not $10 just for police officers. It's $5 for the police officers, which comes to about $65,000 a year. And it's also $5 for dispatch, because years ago, there was a levy, and you probably all remember that, and it was a levy for 911, and that was countywide. So what the county did years back is instead of just dropping that money, they put it into their general fund. So they are still getting that money, but they're not paying us for dispatch. So dispatch has been going in the hole about $50,000 to $60,000 a year. So if we took $5 for people that only live in the town, because we can't do it outside of town, that would give dispatch $65,000, and it would give police $65,000.
Well, I gotta tell you, I can't afford it. I'm on a social security income, and it's just too much money. An extra $10 a month really puts a hurt on me.
Well, and that's why we're having this public meeting. There's no need to get riled up. It's just.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
come
I
off
mean,
riled up. I'm just telling you, I can't afford it.
Right.
Mike?
The town doesn't communicate.
So-
That's when they get riled up.
So a couple of things. First is, the feds don't have any law enforcement right now. To clarify that comment, both BLM and Forest Service LEOs are gone. They're not filled, they just advertise positions, they won't be here for a while, so we don't have that additional backup right now. The other part of this is that I am against adding this on to the water bill. I don't think that's appropriate. If it was a levy, homeowner's tax, something like that, I get it, okay? The water issue to me has got to remain separate because we have a consistent problem with the water quality. And I understand, as the gentleman was saying a while ago, I get your water reports, I'm the safety guy for the Forest Service. I know your water's good, the color sucks. We know that, okay? But the thing is that I just don't believe that this additional amount of money you're requesting needs to go on the water bill. It needs to be completely separate so it's transparent, so we know where in the heck the money is going. And Mike, I appreciate you reemphasizing the budget because I know it's available for everyone to see. The other part of that is what, even as an old fart, what can I do to help? I know in other towns they have senior patrols and they have people that really ain't got nothing better to do. But they drive around in a vehicle, so you have a presence. They may not have arrest authority, but they can go ring, ring, come and get them. I don't know if we have potential to do that in this town, but I would be the first one to raise my hand to help out. So.
Well, and earlier it was brought up about where'd the money go for the snow plowing or that type of thing. We do have an assessment on the utility bill, and that's what I want to get across to everybody. It's a utility bill, it's not a water bill. It's a utility bill, and it does have water, sewer, and it has snow removal. And when that snow removal fee, we get the revenue of $50,000, we no longer charge it. When I first started 2 years ago, it was not being charged. And then we brought it down because it has to be between no lower than 25,000 in case we have a bad winter. And so now it's on, but as soon as we hit that $50 or $50,000 cap, we stop. And that's what we've done. So I want to clarify that. Yeah, that's what I want to clarify. Oh, okay.
I want to clarify, my understanding is, well, I had two understandings and they conflict. One is that in the grand scheme of budgeting, police, fire, dispatch come under utilities. Am I understanding correctly? No. Okay. So then my other understanding, which is, I hope, right, you're only putting this on the water bill because the water bill is already mailed out to everybody, and so you're saving money.
Right.
For the town.
It costs about $1,500 a
Otherwise,
month.
you could, I mean, is there a county, I don't get a county, I don't get a city tax bill. So what would it cost to mail out a yearly bill to everybody in town? I mean, you don't like $10 a month, you're not gonna want 120 a year.
It comes down to a levy.
That's a levy.
Yeah,
People
that's a
vote.
levy.
People have their voice heard.
So what, I guess what I'm asking is what you're saying is you'd rather see a levy?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Nobody's voted on it.
Well, if we don't vote on it, we don't get another officer, we won't have 24 hours. Dave, that's just the way.
So what I think it'll make it, I think it'll make it between all the different officers in this county.
Yeah, go ahead, you have your hand up.
I would just like to ask, excuse my knowledge of this, but if the county got money for dispatch, why did they put it into a general fund? And why isn't it paid to dispatch?
That's county.
Exactly.
We have digitized that.
Who is it?
We have to go to the county.
Oh.
This is city.
Well,
This
they
is
should
the
know,
town,
because
no.
they're-
It had to do with a measure that was passed after that levy, I think it was measure 8.
No, it's 5 or 50.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I can't remember numbers
State
very well, but that gave them the power to do what they're doing with the money, instead of giving it to 911, to run 911, they can, it's not illegal, we've talked to a couple of attorneys, and everyone said what they're doing is legal, it's just not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so the Statesman Journal at Salem came out with a piece not too long ago about this happening in other counties. It starts off as $10 surcharge, and it's actually put on the water bill. It's actually pretty shocking. The story is on the Statesman Journal, all right? And it keeps coming up, it's a sliding tax. First year it's 10, second year it's 12, third year it's 17, the next year it's $22. And there's nothing at all, I mean, and doing
where
this
are you
surcharge,
coming up with this?
a Statesman Journal out of
Really?
Salem, Oregon. Yeah,
But
it's a
we're not the
publication.
Statesman Journal.
It's
I know you're not the Statesman Journal, you're the mayor of Lakeview. What I'm trying to tell you is that there's a piece done in the Statesman Journal, and are you familiar with that publication?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay, so they did a piece over in Coos County, all right? Coos County started off at $10 surcharge for public safety, and they put it on the water bill. And it keeps going up, 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 up. First it's 10, then it's 12, 17, $22.
That wasn't our plan.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, I don't think it was their plan either.
There's precedent. If there's precedent is set around here, I mean, politics being politics and y'all being politicians, right? I'm sure you hear about what, well, you are, because you're elected. So, so am I.
Let me ask another real simple question.
So what I'm saying is that there's a precedent set for this. And we have seen across the state of Oregon, not only in one county, but many counties, we've seen it go up. So the really clear way to negate all of this is to put it on the ballot and let us have a voice. Let's have a voice.
It's fine.
It's a republic. You choose to keep it, let's keep it, right? Let's vote.
Sandy?
I just have a quick question. I'm so surprised coming back to Lakeview, having been born and raised here and coming from being a fifth-generation person from this place. And my dad having served on the city council for years and years and years, Roe Watts. Probably his fault that this has happened. But the anger here, this is Lakeview, for God's sake. This is Lakeview that a place you've all chosen to live, and yet you've got all this angst and anger, and you're ready to fight people. But my question is, and I hope that ultimately there could be neighborhood watch or whatever. We could work. It takes a town to solve a problem, not angry people coming with pitchforks. I mean, this is what you need to talk about. But my question is, you have a bill that comes to you, and the bill says so much for water utilities, blah, 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 and $10 for police protection. Now, I'm gonna pay my bill. I'm against, like this lady, or this guy, or these people. I'm against the police protection bill. I don't want to pay $10, or I can't pay $10. So I just pay my utility bill. If I don't pay the $10 for the police protection, does my water get cut off?
Probably.
Yes. Well, isn't that the issue? You know, you're equating the water bill with the police protection, so if they're two separate things, what you're doing, you're just using one mailing to bill two separate things. I can choose which one to pay. If I don't pay my water bill, I get shut off. If I don't pay my police protection bill, what happens to me?
You still won't have a police.
So, just a question for you.
They'll put a lien on something, or they'll tax your wages.
No.
I just want the power.
So Ray, answer the question. What would happen if a person were to not pay the $10 surcharge and continue to pay the rest of their utility bill? Moving forward, what would happen?
It's already a precedent.
I haven't really thought of it.
It's worded in the.
What happens is, it is in the ordinance what the punishment will be, which we really haven't made any decision about it.
We haven't made any decision on the punishment.
We have a draft ordinance that we have a while.
We have not passed it through the council, and it has not been signed into law.
No, we're trying to get the best ideas, the best way to go about doing this.
So lien or
But right now, we're trying to get our chief here, we're trying to get another officer hired, but we want another officer to help provide 24-hour coverage, and this town needs 24-hour
I
coverage.
have just one other suggestion. Could
Sheriff
you, when you do your ordinance, exempt those people who just simply, like the gentleman back here, can't afford it? Can you have some kind of a questionnaire, some kind of a thing to exclude those people or exempt those people who just simply can't afford it?
I don't want to be kept out of paying my share in the town. I just don't want to do it on my water bill. If it comes on the taxes for the house, well, so be it. But I don't really think we need this. And that's my issue with the whole thing.
Okay, Julie?
So basically, what Kyle said, it's there, it happened in Salem. And basically what you're asking us to do, all of you, is trust you, right? Trust that you won't do that to us. We can't trust a town that doesn't communicate to us. We can't, sorry, Ray, I can't trust a mayor that speaks to me that way when I'm talking about mud brown water. I can't trust this town council because you have not listened to what the people are saying. I'm not even sure you know who your town is. I work with the most vulnerable in this community. The wounded, the weak, the homeless. Do you know who they are? Because we can't trust you on this $10 fee because we don't believe you know us. And we don't really believe you care what's important to us. It wasn't just on Facebook that we blew up about the water. People called, people wrote emails, people went straight into town hall, and we all got lied to. Not one person sent out a message and said, hey, your water sucks, we're so sorry. If I were mayor, I would have went and bought cases of bottled water and put them on people's porches to say, we're working on it. But you shut us down. You didn't speak to us until we don't trust you. So build the trust up. It's simple PR. Communicate. This meeting became about the water when the people said that's what we care about. There's a 2-year turnover in this town. You guys know about that? I wanted to answer your question. For those of us who are transplanted, have you guys heard of the 2-year turnover phenomenon? Professionals come to this town, they last 2 years. Doctors, teachers, mental health professionals, they last 2 years. I'm ready to bail. I'm at 1 year and 8 months. And I've taken care of a lot of really vulnerable people in this town. 2 years, it takes people to go, enough with this place, it's backwards. And a lot of that is to do with the lack of relations between the town and the people.
Very well said.
Very well
I second that.
That's a lot of what I was going to say. I think the biggest problem is communication. And if people knew, this is what we're doing with, and I'm going to go to water just because that's why so many people showed up, but if people knew, here's the plan, we're going to do this in this quarter, we're going to do this in this quarter, next year this is on the burner, and we're working on this. If people knew what was happening and that something was being done, they would be less frustrated, and they'd see an end in sight. And I think that communication is 90% of the problem here, and that's why people get angry and blow up and gossip and talk, and no one has the real answers, so the story just gets bigger.
Put a memo on the water bill.
I'm seriously not angry, I just don't want to pay more for my water and sewer. I would be happy to have it on my taxes if it must be. I'm not happy. I mean, I voted for the increase in order to fund the geothermal for the hospital and the schools. And, my bill went up $50 that year, tax bill. What I'm saying is, it's not like I don't want to pay for anything here. But it's just the way it's coming in on the water bill, I'm not liking that. To me, I'm against that mechanism. And I don't really I'm just not totally convinced that we need 24-hour coverage from town cops when there's deputy sheriffs and state cops around too.
What do we have sheriff for?
Hey, hold on, I got two back here. Robin and Bruce, one of you, go ahead.
I would just like to say that if people want to be informed about what's happening in their town, then come to the town council meetings.
They're also online. Not all of us can come. They're also online.
They're also online. It's also reported in the Lake County Examiner.
Oh, you can read about it.
Yes, very accurately, as a matter of fact.
You can watch the videos from the
We don't have to say it
But then we
4
gotta
o'clock.
just, can you change the time of the meeting? Could you guys do it, say an hour late?
Bruce?
Yeah, what about us putting together, and I hate to do things by committee, but some sort of a group of people to come up with a law enforcement plan, give them a deadline to produce that, lay out the options, lay out the costs, lay out the time to implement it. Somebody has said it takes a year to bring a new policeman online. So nothing you're going to do in the short term with more money is going to solve that problem. The only way to solve that problem is some kind of arrangements with other law enforcement. And I think all sorts of issues are being thrown out here, kind of focusing on the $10 and what are you going to do with it. But what are you going to do with it? Where's the plan? How is it going to fit together? How much is the plan going to cost? Once the plan is laid out, public comment on the plan, and then go get it done. The plan is not a solution. It's only the map to get to the solution.
And that's what I keep asking for. I'd just like to be curious, how many people here are supportive of either raising the police officers' wages or even hiring more police officers via another method? I'm just curious, because I don't think we're against these police officers at all. It's all about the method. Yeah, it's all about the method, guys. You've got to take financial prudence and go, let's analyze this. We're in an economy right now shifting so big that the price of gas needs to start being considered, hiring people who are local and can drive locally and not driving fly and whatnot, because I can't even imagine a gas bill there. I mean, we need to be more prudent about it. That's what we're asking for. I think a committee's a great idea of community members who are somehow vested in this.
And also law enforcement, get the sheriff's office involved and the police officers involved.
Go ahead.
They're calling that a special council.
So clearly, there's a community of people who care about what's going on, because they're here when there's a topic that they're passionate about. And, I mean, don't mistake passion for anger. We're passionate about where our money's going and what's going on in our town. Doesn't necessarily mean we're angry, although some people are angry, but when there's means of communication between the community and the council, I think things are a lot better. Look how many people are here at 7 p.m. When your meetings are at 4, which is during your guys' workday, I get it, but these people can't make it. They go work, most of them. And so, they say, come to the meetings. Okay, we'll make them at a time when we can come. And
How many people here have watched a meeting online before?
I tried and I couldn't hear it.
So honestly, that's not a real big effort in trying to come to the previous meetings, is it? Even if they changed the time, if it wasn't such a polarizing issue, would all of us be there?
Yeah.
The library has free internet access every hour that the library is open.
The Examiner, it's great, it's our paper, but the whole reason that so many people are up in arms about the water to begin with is because of the poor communication from the Examiner. We all thought it was going on our water bill, and that's why everyone was so pissed off. And so to say, oh, we'll just read it in the paper or whatever, it doesn't work. There's gotta be better communication. That's why probably 99% of us in this room are so angry right now, is because of the lack of communication.
May I say something? Yes. I've lived in this town for a number of years. We don't really want to go in. But I'm telling you that communication is a two-way street. We sent out a survey with your water bill. And we had how many? 66 responses or something? 130.
But how many of
Out
those
of-
people have a?
I don't know how many we send out, but it costs $1,500 a month, so.
It's over 1,100.
Over 1,100 bills went out with the survey about this very issue. We got 130
I didn't
back.
send much.
So the communication, no, I'll tell
Can I
you
ask
what
a
you
quick
do.
question about that?
Open it up.
How many people pay their water?
You throw the rest of it away. So we can put it in the paper, we can do a lot of things, but it's not very effective for any of us. Nobody has ever said it was part of the water bill, only that the service charge was on that bill. We don't need to spend another $1,500 a month trying to raise 65 so that you can get two different bills, one of which you could ignore, I guess. So I agree that communication is key, but I'm telling you, it's very difficult. People don't read the paper. People don't read posted notices. People don't watch the video.
That's why you tack money on.
Those are the.
What do they read? What did all these people communicate through? The
Mostly
internet.
Facebook.
The
Yes.
internet.
Amen.
Tell me, please.
No, some people don't have computers. They still rely on it.
Someone don't like
Cory?
Okay, number one, I really thank you for having this hearing tonight. And I certainly appreciate all of the information that we got in our water bill. I think that was just great to have, the meeting notice in there, and I think that has brought out a lot of people tonight. And I think it's good for people to air what it is that they feel. But what I think that I don't know what has happened to all of our police. I really haven't. I don't know. But I know that we need our police force. I know we need 911. I know we need all the services that we have. But sometimes we have to look at a budget. That's what I have to do. I have to go back and I have to look at the budget and see what are the incoming projections that I might have if I got an added cost to the town. And I really commend you for having this hearing and listening patiently to the people.
I'm not on Facebook, and so I don't get involved in any of this. I don't need to. You know, I've got enough problems. But the thing of it is, we want our town to be a viable town. What is it takes to be a viable town? We need our police, we need our police. So let us figure out a way to give them a living wage, and let us look into the budget and see perhaps what can be done. I don't think a budget is ever cast in stone, am I right?
Right.
You have to look at this. What is our income going to be from the Red Rock? How can we apply this to these gentlemen? You know, let us look at, do we have a tax on the marijuana stores? What are we doing with that? Do we get, if that's a local tax, perhaps this can be applied. But I think the idea of maybe having a committee of people interested to work with you to try and solve this might be a very good idea. The other thing is that if, and I hear this one gentleman saying this, and that is that if you're a homeowner and you have your taxes all delineated, you take that off your income tax. As a renter, we are having a problem right now with people raising their rents with the anticipation of Red Rock coming in. And so I hear the frustration in some of the young people I'm working with. I hear it with some of the older people that are on very fixed incomes. And so if we can find this where it's a win-win for everybody, we need our police. And we have to find a way to do that. But what has happened to our 4th policeman? You know, and I think these are legitimate questions. So thank you very much for listening to us.
I just had a quick statistical question. Out of the 1,100 water bills that you mail out that only had 130 or 160 responses to the survey, how many of them actually mail back the voucher that comes at the bottom of your water bill in order to pay their bill?
I haven't even opened my bill yet.
Like, how many people actually open their water bill and, I mean, do you just read the number and then pay online? Come in and pay? So do you actually read anything else that comes in your water bill?
Oh, yeah.
Just like the water report and the results that came and the survey monkey.
So I'm surprised by that. I would assume that the reason you had 160 responses is because 160 people got to the second page in their water bill.
I just didn't open my bill yet.
Okay, gentlemen here.
Yeah, so I'm Mike McGowan. I'm new to town. So we've been here just a little over a year, so I don't know a lot of you. But you know, the way we think about this is that this is a tax by another name. And I don't think tax has to be a bad word. I think that, you know, Roberta and lots of towns in Oregon are up against the exact same thing that we are, which is that Oregon has a constitutional measure that limits the amount of taxes that we can charge absent a vote or a special levy to be able to pay for more or different things. This is not just a Lakeview problem. Everybody has that. So I guess the reason that this is part of a utility bill, a service fee, is to be able to get around that limitation without going through the trouble and the expense and the risk of asking for more money. But I do agree with Lori that if you increase your fee by $120 a year, unlike paying property tax, which is deductible against your income, that fee is not deductible. So for someone who has limited income and the ability to absorb additional expenses, it's a rough road to do this carve out. Let's just be honest and say, this is a tax, and if we need the tax to pay policemen better, or to hire more policemen, or to pay firemen, nobody's talking about fire people, if we need to pay more 9/11 people, I mean, let's look at that with open eyes, and don't be afraid of the tax, and let our elected officials and our hired manager deal with this as a part of an entire solution. And if we can do that, and we can be honest, and we don't add something kind of quickly without a full understanding, I think you'll get people, you'll find a lot more support and a lot less anger. And I think there's plenty of people, look at how many people are here. This is a good meeting. This is, and if just to help my friends over here, if you weren't afraid of Facebook and you put the meeting on the Facebook, the town's Facebook page, that we're having a meeting at 7 o'clock, you'd have more people. We'd have to be in the high school auditorium. And that would be a good thing, because your worst nightmare is that you ask for input and nobody shows up. That's not a democracy, and you don't want that, nobody wants that. So let's just talk about, I think there's a lot of good ideas in this room, let's talk about taxes and call it a tax. It's a tax, it's a general obligation to pay for our employees. Nobody should be ashamed of that. It's not a fee. But let's be honest, and let's be thorough. I think, what you're all hearing tonight is that there's a lot of people who don't understand the budget and don't understand that you're up against a limit that isn't your doing. It's a state constitutional limit. There's nothing you can do about that short of a statewide vote. Okay, fine, we're not alone. And other people solve this problem by adding a fee. But that doesn't have to be our solution. We might find another way.
Well, that's seriously why we had this meeting, is for public input.
Right.
On how to go about it, or if we go about it, so, yeah.
Mike?
So when you form this group, I'm volunteering to be part of it. Okay?
1,100 bills, water bills. Now, I have one that has, even at 1,100, at $10, that's $11,000, right? That's $1.
A month. A month. Not a year, a month.
11,000 a month.
Yep.
How many officers are we talking about? There's gonna be a lot more than that.
But, listen, it's not just for the police, it's also for 911 and fire.
And equipment.
That's why it should be a tax.
So it's for a lot of things here. That's right.
So we're looking at, you know what the gross, $200,000 a year? No?
You said,
What we figured,
I don't
How
think
many
you
houses
be
do you
rude,
have?
but I gotta wonder why the town of Lakeview just bought a brand new Dodge Charger
How is
for
that
their police
possible,
department. I mean, why do we need a pursuit vehicle in a town? We have Oregon State Police, we have deputy sheriffs, what in the world?
it's not brand new.
I was gonna say it's not brand new.
But hey,
I get 3 bills. I
It's
get 3
still a
bills.
valid concern about how much
I'm sorry, but Dave, I know you're frustrated about that.
Well, I get
and
3 bills and I pay 8 water bills.
I want you to understand how much money I made last year. I made $40,000 a year.
It hasn't got anything to do
Yeah, it
with
does, because you're saying that. You're questioning why we're asking for $65,000.
So what do you wanna
It's not 60, it's 200,000.
It's not, it's $130,000
No,
that's
it's not.
split in half.
No.
You're not very good at math, and that's okay.
Yeah, I
But
am.
here's the thing, is listen. You guys think that we bought this new Charger. That thing's got 100,000 miles
This has
on
been
it.
going on for years, Mike, but this is a lot of money we're talking about.
let me tell
and
you.
Where's it going?
Dave,
Listen to him.
you're losing track.
You don't know.
Dave, enough.
You can.
Last night, I literally, my patrol car broke down. I had to get another one. Took me 3 times to jump start it. We are driving cars
I drove a
that
citation.
there's no guarantees I can make it to your house.
I drove a citation.
I don't care what you drove 50 years ago. Ride a bike, ride a horse, I don't care. Times have changed.
We're spending the money away
We
somewhere.
don't have equipment. We need to start building that. We're not asking for it all at once.
Well, can you
But
get this
you-
funded through the county?
We take in money
For
in
the taxes, on like my house
Take in money
taxes,
in
you're
water
exempt?
bills. Where's the money gone?
Dave, we have a budget, it's public document, please come in and read it. Back in the day when you were working, we didn't have, I don't even know, we had the most horrendous electric bill you've ever seen. Because we have to pay for the city lights out there, we pay for everything in the buildings. We have so many more bills and so many more hoops to jump through than we ever did. 20 years ago, yeah, we could do what they
And
did.
whose idea was it to put those lights uptown? Ours didn't either.
We always had lights.
Not me.
Those ones down the street?
Those we didn't pay for.
I think the majority of us understand that $65,000 annual income is not $65,000 going to Mike. He's getting $36,000 base pay, and he's getting $30,000 of benefits that's now government mandated that we don't even get to choose whether or not we pay. Between workers' comp, insurance, things like that. I get that. I think the majority of us probably get that. So,
But also, I just wanted to make sure everybody's kind of understanding how the county and the city and OSP works. Is the city can't rely on the county sheriff. The sheriffs can't rely on the city. Because at some points, like me and another deputy, we're the only ones working at night. There are 2 people in this entire county. I can't leave very far. So if a deputy's got to go up north or go to the Nevada border for an emergency, that literally leaves me. There's no OSP on at night in here. You guys just don't understand. They're not
Really,
here.
they're not running at night?
There is 0 OSP at night.
Mike, I
There's not enough officers in this state right now. They're struggling.
Well, that's funny.
They're literally
I see them in the
they're
evening.
literally filling academy classes every month. And 50% of those people make it through because of the high standards.
Yeah. Well,
And nobody wants, there's no incentive to live here and work here at the wages that we're at. If you want qualified people and you want people to stay here, you've got to pay them. And that's just blunt. And I'm not here to get rich. You're not going to get rich being a cop, but you want to be compensated for what you're doing.
Yeah, but it's a lot cheaper to live in Lakeview than it is to live in.
You might think that, but that's not necessarily true right now. So I just wanted you guys to understand that, yeah, we're not at 24-hour coverage, but neither is everybody else. So when we get bashed for not having enough coverage, you got to understand, OSP and the sheriffs don't have coverage either. This entire county doesn't have enough coverage. There's not enough of us to go around. And we truly, truly work hard for everybody. But we do, you know, I get called off to somewhere and a county guy gets called off and all of a sudden there's an emergency. We've got to decipher what's an emergency and then we got to leave. There's just not enough of cover. You go to a bigger city, you know, there could be 15 cops on at one time. You can do that. My brother works for Medford PD. They have 22 guys on. You know what their average call time is for, say, like people we call here and there's a loose dog? 3.5 hours for a response.
Right, yeah.
We're averaging 5 minutes at the most. And then if we get called out, you gotta realize we gotta get up, we gotta get dressed, we gotta get going. 20 minutes to 40 minutes.
and what's their average
There
base
was
pay?
6 employees in that office before. The county is exactly the same as they were before. The city officers always made more than the county. That's why.
And that stuff happened
No,
between the other managers
No, wait a
and
minute,
all that.
just listen to this. If the money was there, that's why Jeff went to the city. That's why Mike Glenn went to the city. How come all of a sudden they're making double the wages that you guys are?
They're
And we don't have
generating
any
more money through the county than we are.
How come they have money we don't? Same.
There's different properties and businesses in their property.
The river pipeline, like river pipeline brought in a lot.
We didn't get enough on that by
But I think.
Well, why didn't you get one?
Because it's not on our property. We get about $8,000.
Why didn't you go
Pipeline taxes. Well, it's a small
Definitely didn't
amount.
run through our taxing district, so not as a jurisdiction of Lakeview Town.
We certainly have to deal with the impact of their being here.
Yellow County, they constantly fight. City of Davis, they would constantly fight the city all the time. I mean, I hate to say this, why do you welcome the county's general fund gets
Funds is to have the Bermuda pipeline, is to have the pipeline go through your property. The town doesn't own any of that property except maybe a little corner somewhere.
That corner you should have really sought to.
Well, we do a little bit, but it's not even a drop of what they get. But the county gets that money and they hire us and they do whatever they want with it. It's not our say.
There's what, 2,200 people in this town? So that's about 1/3 of Lake County.
So you can show up at the county commissioners meetings and ask them.
Where
We could all go over
I don't know, I'm just hiding back here. I want to make a comment about Red Rock. That's fairy dust right now. A lot of assumptions are being made. We're going to have this big pile of money coming in here and another big pile coming in there. And until it actually starts to happen, it's fairy dust. You're dealing with reality here, the need for law enforcement now. And I want to reiterate, you need to have a plan. Nobody in this room, I think, knows exactly how much it's going to take to provide what's needed. Somebody's made up a figure, $10 a month on the water bill, and that'll give us, you know, what, 130K or whatever the number is. What are you going to do with it? You don't know. What is the plan that makes the most sense? Short-term plan.
meeting to find out. We've had meetings and discussed this.
Okay, short-term plan, intermediate, longer term.
Maybe, but he's right, that maybe the fairy dust will kick in that year time.
We have had another of the county commission contestants here and heard what we're doing, so, you know, you might ask him, the other county commissioner running for election. He has been here to find out.
So I kind of want to piggyback on what the gentleman behind me said. I am totally for having more police coverage and whatever we can do for these guys, because I know as a teacher, you know, it's very hard to get teachers to come here too. We're facing the same thing. But my big concern was people considering it part of their water bill, because I was worried that, you know, we'd start seeing people put water in their lawns and the beautification of our town going down, and was kind of concerned how it could affect our business, seeing, you know, people might say, well, to offset this $10, I'm gonna put, you know, watering a garden or put watering flowers. And so I think if we can keep it very clear and distinct that it is public safety and not in addition to the water bill, then I think more and more people would support it.
I'm sure you'll line itemize it.
Okay, is the gentleman here was talking about taxes. For 2 town meetings, I've been asking this question and it hasn't gotten answered, and I'm hoping that somebody can answer it now. Is there any way that this could be put onto the county tax bill as an assessment? It might require, I don't know, help me out here, we have to have a vote on it or something. That would be a good thing, because right now you've got a town full of angry people who need to hear the sides of the issue and feel like they have some sort of a say in making this decision. Right now it's a bunch of people showing up angry at you guys for making a decision, and put it on the property tax, and either we're going to vote for it or we won't. But disguising this thing as something that isn't a tax, that's not the way to do it.
It's not a fee, it's a general tax.
Make an assessment. Tax bills have percentage of the rural California.
Assessment disclosure, analytical basis.
Special assessment.
Exactly.
So your suggestion, then, if I'm correct, is to, first of all, in November, we would put this on the election.
Yes.
You'd have to have a general election for the town to vote yea or nay.
Yes.
And if it's voted yea or nay, then we collect the taxes that are paid every year on it. Is that what your suggestion is?
Yes.
I guarantee
it will never pass.
So the soonest that can be done, my problem with that is, the soonest that can be done is 2 years from now. The next general election that could possibly be placed on the ballot would be 2 years from now.
You can't make it this year?
You can't make it.
I believe you can, you have until August 8th.
Yeah, you have until August 8th.
Yeah, but August 8th, that is true.
So you would like to see that as a
Right.
town
But it's
constituency.
gotta be one of them things that isn't gonna go up. I mean, you can't
Gotta be
just
written
expect
correctly.
to.
Well,
Yeah, another thing too is you
if
do
it's a
have to look
levy,
at
it's
county
a
our trees.
tax levy,
You
it's
guys
a
gotta
set
be
amount, and it
just on
doesn't
your
change.
end.
If it's a tax levy, it's a set amount, and it doesn't change, just like what the levy for the hospital.
Until we vote.
And it can't go to the general
fund either. Make a tax law that goes to the general fund, it'll go somewhere else.
We want it to go here.
We know that, right?
Hold on.
Safety.
I did just want to clarify that if we do put a ballot measure on for this November, that it would be collected by the county, but it would be given. We'd have to specify it goes to the town for public safety.
It's a public safety.
Yeah, you definitely.
I've seen a situation where the county was collecting taxes for the city and it cost them money and they just finally refused to do it. So I think, you know, I like the idea of the committee because we can just bounce ideas all around, but I think there's a real emergency here. I think that we're talking about law enforcement who's about ready to collapse. And there's an emergency. I don't think we can wait for a November ballot or to see if the county wants to do it. I think we need to have a committee, and I hate committees, but I think we need to have a committee meeting immediately as soon as you can. Get enough people on there to roll these ideas around and come back with some kind of a suggestion.
You have to have a certain number of signatures. You have to have everything nailed down with your signatures by August 8th, I believe. That's not very much time, just to put it clearly what's needed for that.
That's why we have Facebook. I've got over 40 people right now viewing.
She's speaking, please.
Yeah, I'm wondering, there are no easy answers here. It's going to take some time and some discussion. But if this committee, this volunteer committee is put together, I would like to see them, again, look at some kind of civilian patrol. I do a lot of traveling for my business. I'm in cities and I'm in small towns. And in many, many places, I see some kind of civilian patrol. And I know it needs to be very well vetted and worked out. And the committee people can call some of these cities and get some information. But I think that might, at least some hours of the day or some hours of the week, might take a little bit of pressure off our local law enforcement if some kind of civilian patrol can be enacted.
Well, you know, that sounds really good, but the problem is if there's an actual issue that needs a police officer, you don't really want an amateur. You want a professional with a gun.
That's not what civilian patrol does. They observe and call.
Right, but I mean, in the meantime, you know, I mean, I'm not really a fan of having to spend more money, whether it's on my county taxes or whether it's on my monthly water and sewer. However, if we're talking about a situation that actually needs a cop, I want a real cop.
Okay, well, maybe you don't understand how.
Well, I do understand, but I'm saying it's a bunch of hooey. You know, get somebody who can actually do the job there. You know, if you're not up to jumping out of the car and subduing somebody, you shouldn't even. You know, what's your business with that? You're just up in everybody's business, driving around looking at everybody and reporting.
I can drive, but I can't
It's
jump.
kind of big brothers to me.
All due respect, when you're working drug and alcohol, like some of us do, you don't want to be out there at night right now, and what these guys do, it really is keeping us, we had 117, I think, intakes in the last 3 months at mental health, which is primarily drug and alcohol. Yes. I would say like 95% of what these guys got in, 90% of it is men signed up. And so they're out there, I work with those scary people every day too, you know, and you learn a little and you get them better and you know, you learn that they're broken people too, but they can't get to us and get better and get jobs, which I help them get, or homes, which I help them get, without my bringing them to us. And they do, straight to us, every single time, how to do it, straight to us.
We have a list for a possible committee. It's going to be up here on the sign-ups when this is over, and we'll put it right out front. I don't know what will happen with that, but at least we'll get some names that we can contact and check and see if that's what you want to do and how you want to solve the problem. The issue for me is we need to help financially the people we have.
Absolutely.
And we're not, by the time we get through a levy, by the time we get through that money is a year and a half, 2 years down the road. So it can't help us now. And if people as good as Mike were thinking 3 days ago he was gonna leave because he didn't like the situation for himself and his family. So we spent 2 years, I think the levy's a great idea, I just think time-wise, we need to get them some help now.
But Sharon, that might be why you have to take another look at the budget and prioritize some things, so that it can be more expeditious.
Now, there was 2 or 3 people.
I couldn't hear you, Lori.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said, that's why maybe we have to take a look at the budget and reprioritize some things to make it more expeditious to get it started, as we work on something else.
We would be delighted if you could find extra money in our budget for us.
Well,
She's not saying extra, she's
I'm
saying
saying,
reallocation.
I'm not saying
Reallocation.
extra, I'm saying reallocate, because we need to take care of these
Ridiculous hours.
Put the language in the ordinance that are on the ballot.
Yeah, I'd suggest if there is a levy, it should at least be considered to be a county-wide levy. Because as we've heard earlier, the sheriff's department has the same issues.
That's right.
You know, and that's an interesting point, because the county benefits from the policemen, why can't the city police benefit from the county? Why not go after, why not go after everybody in the county with $10? Everybody, even up in Fort Rock or something.
Because we don't build their water.
Landowners, and that's not right.
Robin?
The reason you can't do a county-wide levy is because county-wide is not being covered by our town police. We are being covered by our town police. We are the ones that call at 3 o'clock in the morning with somebody having a heart attack that needs somebody that can come and respond to us. It isn't somebody at North Lake that's gonna have to wait for a sheriff's officer. We are the ones in town, not countywide. This is a town issue, not a county issue.
So does county have a separate 911 line?
No.
We dispatch both counties.
Doesn't the city police sometimes help out the county police?
And the sheriff's office helps us out, but that's just.
But they're shorthanded, we're shorthanded.
That's always been that way, that they help each other out. But we can't tax the other people in the county.
But they got a
They
bunch
are
of money
employees.
over there that you ought to go.
Well, that doesn't matter to them, because we can't.
We can try. We can try.
Well, go ahead and talk to
I
them.
really want all of you to show up at the next commission meeting, please.
I'd like to make comment. I heard a lot of people tonight make mention of future funds that could be utilized for the services that we spoke of, water and other things that can be utilized by the town of Lakeview. And just so that you have a communication line of where those funds are coming from and when we anticipate in seeing them and how you might be able to help assist us get those funds. One of the funds that was spoke of is the marijuana tax, a local tax.
Yeah.
That tax is something that our attorney is drafting.
We don't have that already? How did they even get their foot in the door
We
without
have,
that?
they
OLCC.
just opened, we had no need for a
Wow,
tax
there's
until
gold
now.
mine right there.
The tax, anyways, the tax is being looked at right now and will be voted on by the council, and I would hope that you, if it is on the November ballot as expected, would vote that in. It's a 3% tax, so that is funds that will come into the town next year after January 1. The other form of tax that we might see is the lodger's tax fund, which have a 30% amount that is utilized by the community. Those taxes are just now starting to be collected, so very little has accrued at this point. But we'll have some future funds that are available there that we can look at in our overall scheme of things and overall everything that we have to pay for in the town of Lakeview. The other thing that everyone keeps hoping for and anticipating is the Red Rock taxes, or not taxes, in lieu of taxes. The town and the county came up with a community service fee in negotiations. And that community service fee will be seen by the town and the county in probably the year 2020 after Red Rock starts operations. They have to get operational and get money flowing in, and then they will get.
Is that a 50-50 split, or?
The town gets, I believe it's
60.
60.
We
and
fought
the-
very hard for that.
60-40, the town negotiated for 60% of the fee, so. Those are some funds that are in future, but our cry now was our police department. Our cry as a town council was to provide 24-hour surveillance and safety protection to you, our citizens. And that's what we were trying to do. We didn't want you to come angry at us because we were trying to figure out a way. But I'm glad that there are people here who are willing to assist us in finding a way. You know, we beat our heads against the wall, I promise you. And as I said, through the years, Homeland Security grants have depleted for every community across the United States. Those funds are not available anymore. And so, therefore, we've had an attrition of our officers as well. And so that's where we're at. And we need to pay our officers more. And that's why we're looking at trying to garner more money for our departments so that we can keep them here. They're valuable people. They're people that we need in our community. You all know them. They're very special to us, and we need them. And that's why we ask for the safety fee. And so just so you know, communication-wise, that's where it's at. I would like to ask all of you to come to our meetings. Please do. The meetings have been at 4 o'clock. I don't know. I've been here for 10 years. I can't tell you why they're at that time. The county commissioner has theirs at 10 a.m. in the morning. I don't know if that's a better time, but thanks for coming to our meetings, no matter what time it is, and thanks for voicing your concerns.
All right, Kyle, you had your hand up earlier.
Yeah. So from what I understand, is the is 911 dispatch part of the county? Does the county puts money into that and pays for that as well, right? The resources that 911 dispatch, you know.
There was a fee that was being collected years ago, it's my understanding, and it brought in full fees for 911 dispatch throughout the county, which all the enforcement officers, county, state.
The state of
Used to
Oregon
use it. The state
subsidized.
has their own now, their own communication system, but they used to utilize our operations center as well. But that money is something that has dried up in regards to the fee that was being charged to every county resident, including those citizens of Lakeview. That fee rolled into the general fund at the county, and that's where it sits now. They use it for whatever they want to use it for. It's their general fund. It uses it for whatever. So we get none of that fee. The only monies we get for our 911 dispatch center are what you find on your phone bill. And you see a 911 fee on your phone bill assessed by your phone carrier. That is coming back to the county. The county gives us a check for that amount. And that's what we run our dispatch
Two
center.
things, real quick. I'm not going to make this long-winded or anything. Two things. One is, are you guys fighting with the county to try to get money out of them?
We are hoping to
For
have
other things, not just
negotiations
Red Rock, not just the new people coming, the new businesses coming
on
into
various
town.
topics.
Because, I'm going to go over there, and I got some people with me coming over there, and we're going to raise hell, because this is ridiculous. Serious. I just I'm the chief petitioner of the SAP ordinance here in this county. It will be on the ballot in November. All right? I am, it takes a lot of work, a lot of paperwork, a lot of this, a lot of that, a lot of rubbing elbows, to get signatures done up in a weekend like I did, to get something on, on the county ordinance, on the ballot. I have no qualms with throwing out a recall for any politician that doesn't want to give us what we are due here in this town. And that's just, I don't care on what level they are. I will put the recall out, I will call on the phones, and when people, whoever it is, has half the roll, they'll roll. But we're gonna get what we need.
You mentioned the room tax.
Second, what I wanted to say real quick is, I've heard Cliff Hargis, the Oregon State police officer, talk about merging Lakeview PD in with the county sheriffs.
You still got to pay for it.
Of course, yeah.
It's going to be just the same amount of money.
Right, but from what I understand, the county has a hell of a lot more money than we do in this town.
But the town has to pay.
We
The
have to
county's
pay
not
for
just going
ours.
to take us over.
So what's the cost benefit ratio on that? Have you guys been able to look at that or analyze it?
The county has not come to us and offered to offer services.
Well, have we done to them?
I know Cliff Vargas, a state policeman that has nothing to do with
Sure,
it.
sure.
He doesn't even live in the town as far as I know. But he has, through his advocation of the measure in his administration of a website or Facebook,
You mentioned the room tax. You mentioned the room tax.
I was gonna go back to the room tax and the marijuana tax. If we have that already in the works, and you stated that the community service fee from Red Rock won't come in until 2020, When will those taxes be realized here locally?
If the public votes in the marijuana tax in November, it would start being collected on sales in January.
And the room tax is already in place and is
Room
being
tax is
collected
being
now,
collected
correct?
as we speak, and it's
So
on
how
a
much money do we
month-by-month
anticipate to receive from the room tax that's already in place over the next year?
Can it be increased? Because I'll tell you, it's really high in Portland.
I'm not saying anything about the fee, I'm just looking to compare and contrast. We did the math earlier, $10 a person, 1,100 water accounts, X many dollars per year. There was some concern about the amount of money being large, but there's some concern from you guys that that's not actually enough money to do everything. So when we look at the room tax, what are we going to collect in this year from the room tax? How does that compare?
As I said, only a portion of the room tax is available for funds like that. The majority, 70% of the lodgers' tax funds have to be spent on promoting our community for a place for people to come and enjoy.
So what is the, so we expect to receive $30,000 a year total in room tax?
No.
That's our 30%.
No.
30% that we're.
That will be realized locally for
the
usage.
entire year. In that neighborhood. We don't know. We've never collected the tax before in the town.
And what about the marijuana tax? Do we have, I mean,
It's
there are,
3%. We have no idea what the sales are at these dispensaries.
3% strikes me as well.
3% is the most the state of Oregon will allow on local sales of marijuana.
The other slight, what did we get, 6,000 for the first quarter?
I think we've gotten about, or received about almost $10,000 from state.
We also,
revenue from
because
marijuana.
this town of Lakeview opted into the marijuana sales and in our community, we get part of what the state collects.
and that's averaged out through
We're
all,
not collecting any of our own, yeah.
but that's averaged out through all dispensaries in the
We've gotten
state.
somewhere between $6,000 and $10,000, which is
And that's in 1 year or 1 month or?
no, that's, we
It's
think
over about a
maybe
year's
like
collections for the
13.
state. The state's been collecting for longer than a year now, and that's the most that we've seen at this point.
Was 6,000 or 10,000 in 1 month?
No,
No, not for
Total throughout the whole course of the
Comes in
year.
every quarter.
And it's not enough to pay for an officer.
So it sounds like we need a short-term solution, and then we need to work very diligently on the long-term solution.
Right.
Very simply.
Short term, why can't we have a cap on this?
Right, so maybe we put a deadline, or something, a couple years. We pay
We can
this.
certainly take that into, like I said, we have a draft ordinance right
1
now.
year
It's
will
not
get you
been something we voted on
$130,000.
and said we're doing this. We wanted to hear from you. That's why we asked that you come to the meeting tonight. We have the meeting for public safety fee. We have had meetings, 2 that we've discussed openly, our draft ordinance. So your participation is important to us.
What's next?
So the your suggestion is the $10 a month, but limit it to say 2 years, so that we have that.
Yeah, or we could roll with that, brainstorm with that, but you know, a short term that creates an
And that gets us
immediate,
the
fills that
cash
hole
we need
immediately.
now. And hopefully when the other fees come in, our deal with Red Rock, and Mike, you check me on this because I don't know all the terms, but Red Rock is in an enterprise zone, right?
They are.
So they don't pay any taxes for 15 years?
20.
20 years. So we get no taxes from Red Rock in 20 years. It's now in the city. We had to annex it because they wanted our water, they wanted our services. So they're annexed, but we don't get any taxes. What we do get is the community service fee, which I think is like 300 and some thousand.
The overall for the county.
So the county,
per year?
yes, but that's shared with the county. The county gets 40%, we get 60%.
Right, but that's long term, right?
That's
That is
long.
one, yeah.
And I stand corrected, Sharon. It was 15 years. I'm
Was
sorry.
it 15?
If this was earmarked strictly to what you say for, not going to general fund, and the budget as it is stays, I might think about that. But as soon as that money that's budgeted, this money comes in there, where's that money that's budgeted going? Somewhere else?
What?
What I'm talking about is there's 4 employees in town hall. We're missing 2 officers. There's 2 more employees in town hall than there used to be. There's our 2 officers. I don't wanna see this money going to
We
take care of
cannot
our
go
homes.
back 20 years just to get your figures there. That doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Well, this money
Every
can't
place
go
I
anywhere
work.
else but to that.
No, it has, there's.
And I guarantee if it goes in the general fund, it's gonna be going bye-bye somewhere. And we don't want that.
You can't collect the tax for public safety and put it into the general fund. You could sue our collective families. We could take it in the
What you do is you bring it into the general fund and designate it to
dispersed
the
within-
police department.
within
And
the
you
law.
and then you bring it into the 911 fund, because it's a separate fund, and designate it to 911.
But you
Or
said
to
you lost
require
that
by the
$5, how many years ago?
What, $5?
Well, what, 5% or whatever that the county won't reimburse you about?
Long before, that was on 90.
Okay, but how was that put forward to the people to take that out of our?
That was a statewide vote.
That's a statewide. And then
It wasn't just a
That
local.
wasn't the county.
No, it was county-wide, state, city.
You had a question?
I did have a question. So just if I understand the proposal, Red Rock doesn't start paying taxes or any levies, community service fees, until they're finished building out and they've commenced the operation of their business. But in the meantime, they're using our water and sewer.
Not yet.
Well, but they will be once they start, and it's a chemical plant.
They
They use
pay their
a
bill.
lot of water.
Yeah.
And they'll be paying a $10 per month service fee, just like the rest of us? Is that the right way to be, looking at industrial quantities of water in a town that has water?
That's a good point.
So I don't mind slapping them with a higher fee.
There you go. There you go. And that goes to what I mean.
You gotta fight for it.
They will be paying their monthly water bill. I'll be right to take some more time.
Are they metered?
Yes.
Right away. Right away. They'll be using water right away.
All right.
Dust abatement.
Tomorrow, I don't know if you know this, but tomorrow is the groundbreaking ceremony out at Red Rock.
Yeah.
I hope every one of you comes.
Yeah.
But it's free lunch.
11:30. All right.
11:30.
And lunch is provided. And lunch at the table.
So my question was about the, what did we call it, the enrichment zone? The enterprise zone. Who created the enterprise zone that Red Rock currently uses to not pay any
The
taxes for
county
the
and the
next?
town came together to create the enterprise zone.
Okay, so the town and the county decided together that Red Rock should not pay any taxes for 15 years.
Stuart?
Real quick. Now, you just stated that the 911 funds that we had way back ended up in the general fund, we can't get to it now. Now you're saying you want to earmark, you want to put it in the general fund and turn around earmark it? I just heard that.
No, in our general fund, not in the county.
That was the
Thank you
in
for
the county,
clarifying
the
that.
911 went into the county general fund.
And that's about
So it's not the county
68,000 a
general
year.
fund you're talking about, you're talking about the city general fund?
No.
That still doesn't sound good to me.
That's where our paying for the law enforcement comes from now, is our general fund.
They're line items, right?
Right.
They're
And that's
line
in our
items.
budget, and if you look at our budget, it has the line items for their department.
There
Do
you
you
go.
know how much water they're going to use at Red Rock?
We'll charge them for every penny
We'll
they do.
send them all our dirty water, how's that?
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
Maybe they'll flush all the lines.
You've got a huge source of income right there, starting tomorrow.
We don't have the water and sewer down there.
And they're not gonna be.
You have to get the water and sewer down there before you can start charging.
Yes.
Holly was one that was
Well, so you're that you can go there, but that you're not allowed in the area or to speak.
All right, one more question.
There was that lady back there.
That's what I was told by a guy with an invitation.
One that talked.
Did somebody in the back here have a question?
So no point.
Anybody else?
Margot has a question. He hasn't said anything.
One of it seems like a lot of the answers that we're getting from town council is come to the meetings, come to the meetings, come to the meetings. And we get it, this has been the meeting time at 4 p.m. for a long time.
Can't hear you.
But obviously, we can get people here at 7. I think it would be good to have the town council and the county commissioner meetings after business hours when everybody can be here.
in a bigger venue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Way bigger venue.
This is the only way your constituents can hold you accountable for what you do. This is the only way.
I would say to vary the time of the meetings, because not everyone is actually off work at 7 PM either. Just because it's outside of standard 8 to 5 business hours doesn't mean that every voter in Lake County would be able to attend a 7 PM meeting. So it might be beneficial to have one at 10 AM, one at 4 PM the next month, one at 7 PM the next month, one at 10 AM. No matter your schedule, you would either be able to hit 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3 at that point.
I think most would
One
be
of the
amenable to that.
reasons that we quit holding them later was that frankly, I don't know about you people, but after teaching school all day, I wanted to go home and just, when 7 o'clock rolls around and I'm gonna get up and go to a meeting.
We all
But
should.
you-
We all want. There's nobody here that comes home from work and doesn't want to.
Get back to the
Yeah, exactly.
You have the authority and the power to craft an ordinance, which you've got a proposed ordinance that your attorneys worked on. Listening to all the suggestions that you have about putting a sunset clause in it, for example, and how you're going to enforce it, and, you know, those issues. Can you go forward, do you feel comfortable right now as a council going forward with crafting something that you can bring back at another meeting in a week or something so that people can listen to it and you can try to correct some of the things, the misunderstandings maybe that people have about it or that kind of thing?
I think idea, in a couple of weeks, you could have another meeting.
And that could easily be done because the ordinance is pretty much what we've talked about tonight, but the exclusion of our the end date, I guess is what you're.
Which would be the temporary solution for the funding of more police officers, but then the committee could work on a long-term solution for how you fund law enforcement and fire.
Up to the council, but I would say yes.
Maybe the ordinance could also say that the council acknowledges that this is really a tax and that it's a matter that should be put to the voters and that the sunset clause is only until we can reasonably get a valid ballot measure written and sold, frankly, in the right way, for the right reasons, to people who will vote it through. And you know, if you do that, then I think people will have a little bit less sensitivity to adding to what they think is an increase in their water bill. Because it's clear now that that's not what you had in mind, but I don't think everybody understood that.
Might not be what they have in mind, but my water bill will be $10 a month more than it is now.
That's correct.
And you know, I mean, I'm keeping it together, but I don't have any extra money.
All right,
Don't put her on the water bill.
okay. If hearing more, we're gonna close this town hall meeting at 8:43.
2043.
And we will put out when we're going to have another one and on this also, okay? See what we've come up with.
And we should have at that time the ordinance as, including the suggestions that you've given us tonight.
Maybe make a copy of the ordinance available, you know, next door, so that people who are coming to pay their water bills can.
We always have our agenda out there, but
No, I'm talking about the draft.
well, that's in the agenda usually, or you can come in and
But
get
if most people don't know that, what's the harm in just saying, this is the ordinance,
Exactly.
The draft
right? That's the two-way communication that we were talking about earlier. I'm not saying this, but don't hide behind, it's always in the agenda. Make it super public, make it so that you have to try really hard not to know. Because a lot of people don't know to look in the agenda for information like a proposed ordinance.
So I pass that on to all my renters.
Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for coming.
Thank you.